Hey y'all. So we're going to be taking a look at your upcoming Mabon season, but before we do, a couple of announcements. So first of all, I got a treat for you guys. So I developed a quiz to help you determine what your strongest clairs are. So your clairs are your intuitive abilities in terms of clairvoyance, how you see intuitive information, clairsentience, how you feel intuitive information, and so on and so forth. So if you are curious to see what your strongest clairs are, and then get a little bit of information about how to strengthen them further, develop your other clairs, and then also some information on what my strongest clairs are and exactly how I use them to read on the channel, go get your free quiz. The link is in the description box below, and then let me know your results. I really love to see and hear like what you guys' results are. I love talking clairs all day long, so that link is in the description box below. Secondly, I reopened availability for personal readings. I sold out of the first round that I opened up a couple weeks ago, so I put some more availability up, and once those go, I'm gonna have to shut it down, and then hopefully I'll be able to do it again sometime in the future, but I never quite know when. So I love connecting with you guys personally, so if you guys want to sign up for a personal reading, that also, you guessed it, is a link in the description box below. I look forward to connecting with you. So those are the announcements. Now on to the meat. So we're going into Mabon season, right? So Mabon is a beautiful time as the wheel turns, where we're going into the autumnal equinox here in the northern hemisphere. Flip it for the southern, of course. But in the northern hemisphere, this is when we have equal times of day and night, right? So think about the justice key on the tarot, right? We are moving from Virgo season into Libra season. Libras are the justice key. It's about the scales. It's about balance, right? Which brings it back to that idea of the autumnal equinox and how we begin our descent into the dark time of year. So there's going to be a lot of themes of this time of year in these readings is what does balance look like for us? What is our relationship to the dark time of year? What is our relationship to the unknown and all of the aspects of the things that we can and can't see within the moonlight and the sunlight and all of those aspects of what duality and balance and dark and light brings up for us in our day-to-day and also our spiritual experiences as well. Because as we move forward in the wheel of the year, after that, we have my favorite time, Samhain, aka Halloween, and then we're moving forward further and further into the dark times. Samhain is also the beginning of the new year in the pagan world, my world. So it's a really beautiful time where this is, beginning with Mabon. It's a lot to be excited for. It's a lot to look forward to, and also I find it's a really beautiful opportunity for us to take a really healthy inventory of how we're doing, right? We're going into the last quarter of the year. How are we doing? How have we achieved balance? How are we feeling, right? How can we adjust our equilibrium or just observe our equilibrium, right? And move forward with an energy that feels balanced and grounded and inspired through the rest of the year, right? It's kind of like a, like a last call for the last quarter of the year before we're going into January and we're in a new numerical year. So it's a beautiful opportunity to really take stock and really ask those questions and really consider our relationship to what is seen and unseen. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at your upcoming Mabon season. Hey Leos, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're gonna be taking a look at your Mabon season here. So in your meditation, it was short but sweet. I saw the image of a black cat and I saw it running after all of these mice, but every mouse it came across and scooped up with its paw turned out to be a mechanical mouse and wasn't real. So it kept getting frustrated and kind of like, oh, where are the real mice at? And then I saw it getting kind of exasperated and then kind of collapsing on its back and just staring up at the, the sky, like, what am I, gonna do? And then I saw an interesting image from Neil Gaiman's Sandman, which is a series of graphic novels that are amazing, but it's also currently on Netflix. So I saw an image of a story from that series of a big mother divine cat coming in and kind of looking at this little domestic cat going like, What are you doing? You can be so much more than just chasing these mice that, you know, aren't for you and amount to nothing and that aren't real. And then it tells this domestic cat, let them come to you. And then the longer the cat sat there, it was able to, like, anything that moved across its path, it was still enough where it went unnoticed, and then it was able to eat just by grabbing things that came to it. Then I saw an image of the Buddha kind of sitting with this cat, and this sort of beautiful energy of all the wisdom and opportunity coming to you from a place of, you know, being exactly where you are perfectly. What does that mean? Being exactly where you are perfectly means being present with where you are, being observant from where you are, and knowing that what is yours will not pass you by, and allowing things to come to you. It's a beautiful time of, you know, divine inner movement and stillness, and it feels brilliant. It also feels like nature is a big part of your experience at the moment. If you think about Buddha and that kind of energy, you know, nature and cycles, it feels like it's all operating within and through you right now, and it's really beautiful. So let's go ahead and get your animal energy. Right, someone else got this. Who was it? I can't remember. Might have been Sagittarius, actually, your fellow fire sign there. So butterfly. So this is about metamorphosis, transformation, change, cycles, and patience. But this is also about allowing and understanding that every aspect of a journey or every point of a process is perfect in and of itself, right? The butterfly, when it has its wings and it's flying, that is the shortest part of its life cycle, right? From the egg to the caterpillar to the chrysalis, to where it, you know, breaks down, turns into goo, and then emerges with wings. This is the shortest life cycle it has. So it teaches us that if we have too much, you know, concern, or we're really only focusing on, man, I just want those wings, I just want to fly and be beautiful and fantastic and go visit all these flowers. I want to really rush through this whole cocoon or chrysalis business. I just want to rush through this caterpillar business, all of that. It's like you're missing so much opportunity along the way, because it's sort of it's the equivalent. I said this with I think the other sign that got this. It's kind of the equivalent of when you are going to a movie that you've been waiting to come out for a long time, or, you know, a new series or a book, whatever it is, and you're so excited right before, then you see it. And even if it's excellent, it's never as good afterwards, because nothing will come close to the anticipation of having that to look forward to, and the joy of the unknown, the joy of the potential, right? So there's something about with that Buddha about being exactly where you are from a place of stillness and perfection and allowance and acceptance and all of those words that is, you know, carving the path forward for you in a really perfect way. You know, butterfly also equates to the Three of Swords in the Tarot, because it speaks of some of the pain, you know, the growing pains, the pain that comes along with transformation and change, right? So definitely some transformation and change and shifts going on within and around you. Let's see what's going on. Right. Right. Okay. Woo! So we're starting off with a major arcana of the world. Now this makes a lot of sense, because the world, this is the last key in the major arcana sequence, which speaks of endings. You've had victory, you've completed a cycle, it's finished, you've done all that you can do, you've gotten all that you can get, you've learned all that you can learn, all of the things, right? And you're closing down that cycle and awaiting something new, moving on to something new, as showcased by this beautiful grasshopper down here, which embodies Fool energy. So it's kind of like, you know, where there are endings, there are beginnings. But what's really interesting here is that we're talking about change and metamorphosis, and having, you know, homage for every part of a natural cycle and journey. And then we're talking when we have the major arcana that's about, oh, it's over. And then it's the bridge between something ending and the new path emerging. But you are in the in-between. I can feel that. And then we have the Chariot here. Beautiful Cancerian energy. Now this is fast, forward moving, balanced movement, right? But what's really interesting about this is, remember how I said that the butterfly equates to the Three of Swords. And then we have this heart here. Three of Swords in the tarot is the heart with the three swords piercing it, right? So we have this heart here, and then we have this honey badger looking to the past here with the world, and these chickens, which are roosters, I guess, which are like a Six of Pentacles energy of give and take and reciprocity. It honestly feels like you are really, the way that the honey badger is looking at the past, it really feels like your movement forward. We're talking about movement, progress, change, metamorphosis, transformation, all of those things, right? I'm just going to keep giving you all the synonyms. Because when we're talking about that, I can't help but notice how this honey badger is looking to this world aspect for sort of something to put into the navigation system, because that's another key to Chariot. The Chariot is not going to go anywhere until you have entered the coordinates of where you're trying to go into your GPS. It's not a mindless ride. It's very purposeful. It also speaks of victory, success, and conquest, but not in a meandering way, in a very direct way, right? It's interesting in this context, the fact that it's like looking to the past in this way. I feel like you're in in-between time. You're in in-between time, but it feels like the path that you're on is aligned with you in a way where you're able to just have an understanding that you are where you are, and you're very aware of the fact that you're in between things, or you're in a point in time or a moment in time that is very unique to you in some way. And you're okay with just making the most of it or being with where you are. And that feels incredibly important to say, because that could be something that you struggled with in the past. Okay? Then you have the Nine of Wands here, this beautiful fox and the porcupine here. It's fascinating. This is giving me really big Mabon vibes as well, with the, light and dark equal parts of the day here and the autumnal leaves. But, the fox and the Nine of Wands, listen, the Nine of Wands is very much about persistent effort. It's about, going and going and going, even when you don't know, when you're going to get to rest again, or if this is really going to pay off. It's sort of moving forward with trust and faith that whatever cycle is happening for you at the moment, that you will get to the other side of. Is it a fun time? No. But isn't it an empowering time, because you're in the last leg of something, and that, eventually you will get to the other side of it? Yes. Now it's interesting with this porcupine energy, because remember it's that wounded, wounded warrior archetype we always talk about, right? But it's interesting with this fox energy on the 3 tree stumps that have been cut down to size. And then we have these porcupine quills and the fox going like, oh, should I, dare I? This is reminding me of your opening meditation with that cat with its claws that was, reaching out for things. And it was only when it kind of sat back and like kind of on its back that it was allowed, able to let things like come to it. That's about it. There's a certain aspect of that is surrendering to the natural cycles of things, right? So it's interesting with this Nine of Wands. I want to say you're on the precipice of something that is yet unrevealed, or not yet fully known, or not meant to be seen yet. And I feel that very, very strongly. Fox energy is magician energy in the tarot, but it's also about, the fox energy is able to have access to ideas, potentials, problem solving that other energies don't, because it embraces the taboo in a way that other animal energies don't, right? There's nothing too taboo for fox energy. If you think about the reputation that foxes have within lore and literature and fairy tales, they're known as the tricksters, right? You can't trust them. Like, if you think about the kitsune, which is the 9-tailed fox in Japanese lore, right? That was also about transformation. A kitsune is someone who, within the lore can take the form of like a human or the fox, right? And then we have this transformation with the butterfly here as well. I feel like the porcupine is also giving me some, sharpness or quills around this change or transition, but I feel like you instinctively know, and you may have dreams around this, or just moments of, I want to say the dread of knowing that something is shifting for you in such a way that you are headed into really unknown territory. I do feel like that could cause some sort of heaviness or anxiety in some lower moments. But I feel like ultimately, if you're able to really work with this fox energy and remember your firefly medicine, which is about attracting to you what it is you want, the way forward is keeping a clarity about you and staying connected to your purpose and being open to potentials that only exist outside of fear-based thinking, okay? Keeping the mind free and right and allowing yourself also to take your time getting to where you're going and rest is needed. But I do feel at the end here, there is this, I'm feeling a little bit anxious or a little bit resistant in some way. This could also be outside influences that may not be aligned with what you're doing, where you're going, or may not completely understand some aspect of your journey, but you're really being asked to do you. No, there is no room in that chrysalis, cocoon if you're a moth, but chrysalis, there's no room in that chrysalis for anybody but one butterfly. So just feel like you're on a solo journey of some sort as well. Let's get some advice. I can't tell you the number of times that Six of Cups has come up today. Right. So your advice is Six of Cups. So here's what's really brilliant about this. Six of Cups is about that childlike energy of being completely present where you are and enjoying the present moment. But it's also about the past. Remember I said that the honey badger was kind of looking to the past here and being in the in-between? It's about remembering things at a better or worse light than they actually occur, but also sort of referring to your childhood. And remember we talked about the Three of Swords with the butterfly and how that stems from pain that is from the past or past hurt pain? There's something in that for you. But when your advice is Six of Cups, it's going back to that cat energy for me of allowing things to come to you. Really just enjoy where you are at this point in your personal metamorphosis, right? Without worrying about the future or tending to the past. You are really being encouraged to be exactly where you are at whatever point in this butterfly situation that you're in. It feels incredibly important and beneficial, and like it's going to feel better than sort of projecting yourself in the future into the past, right? Let's get an oracle. Let's get an oracle. Oracle for Leo. Oh, I love it. Gemini got this as well, actually. Maybe watch the Gemini reading as well, because I feel like it's referencing that. Anyway, so you got beauty here. And what's really fascinating about this is that beauty asks, if beauty is in the eye of the beholder, when you look at something like a rose, right? Well, first of all, stopping to smell the roses, and we have the Six of Cups being in the moment, right? But when you look at a rose, are you more focused on the thorns in your life or the roses, right? And understanding that life is both of those things. It's thorns and roses. That's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it, the business of growing souls and why we're here in this school of life, right? And this beauty is really about how everything, your given circumstances, your experience, your going through this world is only as beautiful and only as joyous as your perspective allows it to be. The perspective is key. Perspective is key, right? And also, your relationship as well to how you see things and how that affects you and what point in any process, or how do you see things and how do you allow yourself, to come from a place of allowing things to come to you versus feeling the need to go get them or do more than is necessary. Remember with that cat. Also, cats are about intuition and really connecting in with that instinct, but also they're about independence, right? We were talking about doing you and forging your own path, right? Cats have 9 lives, and we have the 9 of Wands, right? Something in that for you. But I also feel like this is about really appreciating the beauty that is around you from exactly where you are, even if where you are is a big puddle of goo inside of a chrysalis, okay? That's what it is. So that being said, I'm sending you so many blessings for a very happy Mabon season. One more reminder, if you would like that free quiz on determining your strongest clair and some tips and exercises to strengthen it, as well as some tea around my strongest clairs and how I use them with reading for the channel, that link is in the description box below. Also, if you would like a personal reading from me, that link is also in the description box below. And yes, I so hope that this helps and resonates. If so, please let me know in the comments below. I love reading your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. I would so appreciate that. And with that being said, just thank you. Thank you so, so much for being here. And most of all, and as always, beautiful Leos, thank you for being you, and be well. Until next time.